8017. If you're interested.
Delighted to get into the political fray. Not only that, but what's going on at Seton Hall University. And very pleased to have joining us this evening Dean Joseph Marbach. He's a professor of political science, the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at the fabulous Seton Hall University. It's located just 14 miles out of New York City. You hear about it all the time here on Equity Strategies. And Dean Marbach, good evening. Welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Stu. It's my pleasure.
Well, I'm dying to jump right into the political campaign, but before we do, taking that into consideration and with our changing culture, talk a little about your role at Seton Hall University, what it offers students, and what they can expect in the Department of Political Science.
Sure. Well, I'm currently the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, so we have actually 21 different departments that report to me and offer students 35 majors and 39 minors, so they can study just about anything related to arts, social science, or the natural sciences. And particularly in political science, we offer an extensive experiential learning program where we link students in either service learning courses where they're working with local nonprofits, or through an extensive internship program where they work on political campaigns or in governmental offices. So we are a full-service university in that sense.
Well, and I think that's one of the great advantages, being just 14 miles out of New York City, where you know and I know all the opportunities really exist, and it's a great place for young people to get started. Well, if I were doing this interview 5 years, make it 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it might be a little bit different. But we're now experiencing a political climate that one might characterize as an anomaly. It seems to be marked, Dean Marbach, by not only a divisive, polarized nature that unlike anything I've ever witnessed, and I'm sure you haven't, not only between parties, but actually within parties where it's difficult to define the identity of the candidates or the party. How do you analyze this in its overall perspective?
It is very interesting that politics has gotten so uncivil in recent years. In part, I think it's the way that we've decided how we're going to select our representatives and how we draw the districts for representatives. And we see in so many states the practice of drawing districts to protect incumbents. And then you tend to have, these lifelong Democrats, these lifelong Republicans who are really set in their ways, so to speak, and they're not open to negotiations. And that's really been a polarizing effect, especially in the way that Congress operates and broadly how the president operates with Congress. And as you mentioned, we're also seeing it within parties. So there are regions of the country that are a little bit more moderate and others that are more conservative, and even within the Republican and Democratic parties, representatives from those camps don't see eye to eye and are in a battle for the soul of their party in many instances.
And a lot of this, I think, has been dictated by the 2000 campaign in terms of a majority vote of the public and, of course, the electoral vote. But technically, we live in a constitutional republic, not a democracy, and that really dictates the laws of the land. But that seems to have precipitated all of this, along with the voting and the balloting scandals. But it seems to have taken a very unseemly route, Dean Marbach, and the route that it seems to have taken. And I'll say this in a partisan way, because I believe it's in a partisan way, that there are many representatives of the Democratic Party, and I have to stop short of saying something really extreme because I'm not sure there's any intent, who are more concerned about their own lobbying interests and having Democrats maintain control of Congress than they are about the political safety and security of this country, and can be very easily defined as being unpatriotic when it comes to the surrendering of the war, or almost wishful thinking that we lose this war.
Well, I understand that point, too, because in a real sense, this has been painted as Bush's war, and so there's this animosity towards President Bush, and it's played out in many different instances, in the politics that goes on, particularly since the Democrats have taken over both houses of Congress, and the whole tenor in Washington has changed and become even more adversarial than it was before. So I certainly see that sense that, but I attribute it more to this personalization of national policy rather than looking at the broader picture. And we also see that, too, with some of the other candidates, too. I suspect that if Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee, you're going to get this visceral effect on the part of many Republicans.
Yeah, that's a great point to pick this up after a break. Let's go right there to the Clinton combo when we come back after a break. This is Stu Taylor.
This was a famous ship.
Ink.
No, it hit an iceberg.
Ink.
About 100 years ago, it sank.
Ink.
There's a movie and a song about it.
It's ink.
No! Stop guessing ink. Next one. This is the liquid people use to write or print with.
I got it. Toner.
Ah!
You don't think about ink until it's all you can think about. Good thing Office Max has national brands, Office Max brand, and ink refill. Save up to 40% on ink at Office Max when you purchase one multi-pack and recycle 2 cartridges. See store for details. Office Max. All the ink you need, all in one place.
The only children's book of its kind for kids ages 4 to 10. Fairy tales combined with math and science that children learn without even realizing they're being taught. Read more about this rich learning resource, the most innovative children's book of the year, and see what people are saying about it by going to edufables.com. EDUFABLES.com.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or an individual and you need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Mega Life and Health Insurance Company can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and individuals just like you who need affordable health insurance to get it. So call us right now. 800-816-3692. 800-816-3692. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or an individual and you need affordable health insurance, call us now and see how we can help you. 800-816-3692. 800-816-3692. 800-816-3692. Home office, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Not available in all states. Benefits may vary by state.
Gladys, you're looking great. What's your secret?
Gosh, thanks, Sue. I have to give the credit to my new bed. I'm getting the best night's sleep ever. In fact, my doctor recommended that I switch to an adjustable bed as it may provide temporary relief to help manage my lower back pain. So I did some shopping around and got a Craftmatic. You know, the one you see on TV all the time.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those ads.
Well, it turns out that my flat bed wasn't doing me any favors. I tried every creative pillow position possible, and I just wasn't getting the support I needed.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Craftmatic beds may provide temporary relief from edema of the legs, gastric reflux, and nighttime heartburn. I got mine with the optional heat. It's heaven. And you know what? By sleeping with his head elevated, it may provide temporary relief from Harry's snoring. We're both sleeping a lot better since we got our Craftmatic.
Call 1-800-791-5522 to get your free no-obligation information kit. Remember, the call is free and so is the information. Call 1-800-791-5522. That's 1-800-791-5522.
Structured settlement recipients, lottery winners, annuity holders. Stand by for an important message. Waiting years for your annuity or structured settlement payments? Novation Capital offers a better choice. Want more of your money now? Call 800-463-4072 for a free DVD explaining how you can get more cash now. Tired of waiting years for your money? Novation gives you a better choice. Call 800-463-4072. Learn how much cash you can get now. Tired of waiting? Do better. Call 800-463-4072. Novation, a better choice for getting your money when you need it. 800-463-4072. Novation Capital, a member of the Encore Financial Services Group of Companies.
Taylor back with Equity Strategies. And for those joining us in hour number 2, we'll go to another esteemed Seton Hall professor, and that is Leonard Marshall, former football great from the NFL. He's the vice president of philanthropic development for Seaman Holtz Inc., as well as an executive in residence at the Stillman School of Business at Seton Hall University. And for all those out there, you can go to shu.edu to get so much information about Seton Hall, more than we can possibly cover here. And we're pleased to have the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Professor of Political Science, in what could be certainly a great time for people in the media. This is at Seton Hall University, and Dean Joseph Marbach joining us. And Dean Marbach, since you brought up Hillary, I think it was a logical place to go, and here represents truly a fascinating case study, not only in terms of behavioral science, in terms of the media, the political climate, and the fact that Hillary Clinton has painted herself as a moderate, and it's up to the individual listening as to whether he or she ascribes to that, which in a sense has alienated her from the left wing, which controls the Democratic Party, the MoveOn.org, Media Matters, etc. And yet the Democratic Party, in a sense, although Hillary would have to implode right now to lose her position as the nominee, is forced to back her, I believe, in a sense that she possesses the greatest chance to win, as the Republicans, in a sense, will have to rationalize their situation and, I believe, support the candidate who they feel has the best opportunity to beat the Democrat, as opposed to voting to the person of your choice.
Yeah, I believe that's really the case, and as you mentioned, we saw it a few years back with the Harold Curry campaign within the Democratic Party, and Howard Dean was the darling of the left, but when it became pretty apparent that he was probably unelectable, the moderates in the Democratic Party really kind of circled the wagon around John Kerry at that point, and I think that's precisely what's happening with Hillary's campaign. John Edwards is clearly playing to the left in these campaigns. Hillary's taking more moderate stands, in favor of the war now, kind of opposed to the war at this point, following popular opinion. But, I think she is the Democrats' best hope for capturing the White House in 2008.
Well, I believe that too, and even though I think the most qualified person for the Democrats isn't going to be there, and that I do believe is Joe Biden. Each and every presidential candidate is difficult to define in terms of identity. It's difficult for a Republican to be defined as a true conservative, because I believe the only two true conservatives are out of the race. One who chose not to run, and that's Newt Gingrich. The other one who hasn't got a chance, and that's Duncan Hunter. If you look on the Democratic side, the conundrum they face is not supporting the war, taking an anti-war position for immediate withdrawal. And yet when the debates continue, isn't it amazing how we find that virtually all of the political candidates, with the exception of Bill Richardson, really the main one, and John Edwards to a degree, but the top three are talking about continuing troop levels in Iraq till 2013. It's almost self-defeating, and it almost levels the playing field, doesn't it?
To a certain extent, they really are coming down and saying, well, the president's right. We can't just cut and run. We can't leave Iraq in a situation that's much worse off than it ever had been. So you're right. In a sense, they are conceding the point, and it really determines that our policy is, no matter who's president, we're going to be in Iraq for the foreseeable future, next 5 years, 6 years, whatever it might be.
All right, joining us is Dean Joseph Marbach, Professor of Political Science, the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at Seton Hall University. And again, if you want to go to the website, you can go to shu.edu. And I guess that's the easiest thing to do in order to reach Dean Marbach and that Department of Political Science and the College of Arts and Sciences. We'll come back with more analysis by Dean Marbach right after a break.
Legacy is something handed down from an ancestor, like tradition, values, integrity, compassion, and commitment. Like pride in a degree from Seton Hall University. Your opportunity to excel is found at the College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Education and Human Services, the Stillman School of Business, and the Whitehead School of Diplomacy and International Relations. To learn more about Seton Hall, check out www.shu.edu. That's shu.edu.
Are you in the retirement red zone? You've worked years to plan for retirement, but when it comes to saving and investing, there are 10 years of your life that matter most. At Prudential Financial, we call it the retirement red zone, the 5 years before and after you retire. It's a time when the financial decisions you make will have serious consequences. Decisions like how to make sure you have income for the rest of your life. If you're in the retirement red zone, or even close, it's time to consider a Prudential American Scandia annuity. An annuity can help you save for retirement and then turn assets into regular income that's guaranteed for life. To find out more about Prudential American Scandia annuities, ask your financial professional or call 1-800-THE-ROCK. Do it now while time is still on your side. 1-800-THE-ROCK. Prudential Financial, growing and protecting your wealth for retirement. Guarantees based on claims paying ability of the issuers, the Prudential Insurance Company of America, Newark, New Jersey, and American Scandia Life Insurance Corporation, Shelton, Connecticut. Both are Prudential Financial companies. Annuities contain fees, surrender charges, and limitations.
If you own a business, why haven't you incorporated yet?
My business is too small.
No matter how small your business, you're risking your personal assets.
Incorporating is complicated.
Actually, it could take only 10 minutes.
I need a lawyer. That's expensive.
You don't need a lawyer to incorporate your business. Use the company corporation. They don't offer legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating easy. Call now for your free guide. 1-800-376-2611. 1-800-376-2611. 1-800-376-2611.
Next Wednesday night.
What America needs is affordable health insurance.
Finding affordable health insurance for you and your family, it's on everybody's mind right now. And if you're self-employed, it's on your mind too. Well, I found a company you can call right now and get the affordable health insurance coverage you're looking for. The Midwest National Life Insurance Company of Tennessee. Write this number down. 800-295-1710. That's 800-295-1710. They specialize in helping entrepreneurs of all kinds and those of us who run small businesses or don't get health insurance where we work to protect our families with the health insurance we need. And if you have a COBRA plan that's about to expire, we can help you too. So call us right now. 800-295-1710. That's 800-295-1710. Not available in all states.
Back with Equity Strategies, and particularly exciting for me to be talking about the presidential campaign, which is certainly, by past standards, a very unusual one with the longevity of it, and perhaps we'll address that within the context of our conversation here with Dean Joseph Marbach. He's the professor of political science and dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at Seton Hall University. And again, I want to tell all our listeners, located just 14 miles outside of New York. And you know what they say in real estate, location, location, location. You couldn't have a better location to get the best of both worlds and have the access to New York City, in addition to be able to attend a fine university like Seton Hall. And we talk about that often on the show. Dean Marbach, as I addressed that issue and talked about, or at least addressed the length of the presidential campaign, it's interesting because so much in life you hear about timing. And here it's interesting to note, and I think when I think of the length of this, I think of the entry into the race by Fred Thompson, who, to me, does not seem to possess the energy level. I'm not sure he's a true conservative, but by the standards set by the Republican Party, and I just get the feeling he just doesn't want it that badly. But how do you assess the pros and cons? Financial donations included, of course, with the late entry of Fred Thompson. Was it just too late? Did we need to have this continuous build-up for this campaign? Or it's become a media spectacle and really an entertainment event?
Yeah, the whole process has just been expedited so much more quickly than ever before. I mean, almost a full 2 years out, candidates were out campaigning and raising funds, and I do agree with you. The whole entry of Fred Thompson into the race really kind of fell flat with a much anticipated announcement, and then that got postponed, and then the next announcement got postponed, and his campaign really seemed to drag it on, and I'm not sure he was necessarily handled the best way, and I'm not sure that going on Jay Leno and David Letterman is the best way to announce you're serious for a bid for the presidency. So just a whole question with how the whole tenor of the campaign has changed, and it's radically different, and the role of money seems so much more important than ever before. So it's an indication, I think, of where our country's headed.
I'm not a political strategist, but I sat back and said, is this guy brainless? Are his advisors brainless going on Jay Leno? What in essence he did, and it's a priori thing, part was basically lose the New Hampshire election and offend everyone in New Hampshire. Because if I were voting in New Hampshire and I had the choice of 2 or 3 Republicans, I would have X'd him out and taken it as a personal insult. And as you look at that within the framework of this entire pre-election process, Dean Marbach, we're looking at 2 different scenarios. And let's take the Republicans. We're looking at Mitt Romney, who leads in the critical states of Iowa and New Hampshire, although that lead is shrinking. What happens when he goes to South Carolina and people have to make a decision between what they perceive as values or his Mormon religion? And then he moves on to Michigan, and suddenly he wins 3 of those 4. It's a momentum builder. And then take the flip of that. In the national polls, Rudy Giuliani is leading and increasing his lead. It's almost as if you're looking at this from 2 different perspectives.
Right, and it's very important to bear in mind, as you alluded to in the previous segment, this is a federal democracy, so we're having these presidential elections state by state, and you're right. The Romney strategy of really working hard, and in Iowa, he's really apparently garnered quite a number of supporters, and is expected to take that caucus stays, and then that'll roll into New Hampshire, and he should get a boost there. And the problem with Giuliani is that we don't have a national election. There's no national primary, so he's got to translate this national popularity into a state-by-state popularity. I do suspect that when South Carolina rolls around, that Romney will be savaged, much like John McCain was a few years back in the 2000 election by the Bush forces. I mean, that's where you get into real conservative country, and I'm not sure that Romney's going to pass any litmus tests that are raised down there.
Well, it's very difficult to dispute history, quantitative and empirical statements made in the past, and no matter how good you are, and Romney's pretty adept at answering questions, but you just can't avoid the facts. I mean, I think of this is a poor analogy, but you look at Larry Craig right now in his interview with Matt Lauer on the Today Show, making a good case for the fact that he wasn't really guilty of anything. But you notice how he used the word entrapment. He was I know I'm changing the subject here. He said it was entrapment. By coming forth and saying he was entrapped, the deduction that I come to is that he was guilty, but they used a technique that they shouldn't have used, as opposed to him saying, "I don't want anything to do with this. I had nothing to do with this." You can't use the word entrapment. In a sense, Romney's fallen into that same quagmire of having made statements that are very difficult to backtrack and contradict. It's a problem in the campaign because of the tremendous attention we have analyzing, dissecting every statement that every candidate makes, and you wonder when that fatal statement will be made, like with a Gerald Ford or a Howard Dean with a shriek. It's got to be tremendous pressure. And
really now the notion that every utterance of a candidate is recorded in some method. You can go on YouTube, right, and see what they've said and when they've said it, and it'll be played over and over again. And then it goes from the internet media into the broader mainstream media, and just becomes a repeated mantra. So, in a sense, you really can't go back and flip-flop, or try to change position, because that's where your own record is going one way, and then it clearly becomes a question of trustworthiness and credibility. And I think in this regard, this is probably where Giuliani's strength is. It's more of, this is what I am. These are the positions I've always stood for. take it for what it's worth. There's certain flip-flopping on some issues, I guess, but all politicians are guilty of that. But, why does Giuliani play well in conservative circles? I guess the analysis is leadership and being, a character kind of issue that seems to play well for him that some of these other candidates are having trouble with.
Yeah, and that particular aspect of it, being principled and sticking to your causes and philosophy, can be deadly. In the case of John McCain, I believe it's on the illegal immigration policy, the amnesty policy. It's on his views on torture. And it was on a superfluous issue in the past that nobody cared about, campaign finance reform. We'll be back to wrap it up with Dean Joseph Marbach, Professor of Political Science, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at Seton Hall University.
If you're a homeowner and you're in foreclosure or about to be, listen carefully. National Homeowners Financial can help you save your home from foreclosure, end the harassing calls, and help you pay down some debt. We're not real estate agents or mortgage brokers. We're investors that help good people like you that are in serious financial trouble. We've helped thousands of people save their homes from foreclosure, and we can help you. To qualify, you must have at least 25% equity in your home.
Call this number right now for free information. 800-932-4108. 800-932-4108.
Remember, to save your home from foreclosure, you must have at least 25% equity in your home. There are no upfront fees, so call 24 hours a day for free confidential information.
Here's the number, 800-932-4108. 800-932-4108. That's 800-932-4108.
Your credit card debt is getting out of control. You're having trouble making the monthly minimums. Sound familiar? You have to do something, but what? Well, you don't have to file for bankruptcy. The mortgage brokers want you to put up your family home to pay off credit card debts. Problem is that more often than not, you find yourself using the credit cards again. Only this time there's no equity left in your home, and you have a whole new pile of credit card debt. It doesn't have to be this way. We're Credit Card Relief. We help people just like you get out of debt in months instead of years and save you thousands of dollars. Call now for a free consultation. We're an attorney-driven program with an excellent reputation. The consultation is free, and the relief is real.
Call 1-866-200-5353. 1-866-200-5353. Not available in all states. 1-866-200-5353.
Do you feel trapped with your debt problems? Can you only afford to make the minimum payments to your credit cards? Are you receiving collection calls? Now, there's a real solution to your debt problems with American Financial Solutions, a trusted nonprofit organization. We'll provide you the financial tools and debt management solutions to help you get out of debt.
Call this number right now, 800-978-4818, 800-978-4818, 800-978-4818.
If you're overwhelmed by debt, paying late and over the limit fees, you need help. If you have too much debt in credit cards, medical bills, or collection accounts, make the call that will give you peace of mind. Call American Financial Solutions and learn how we can help you get out of debt.
Call this number right now, 800-978-4818, 800-978-4818, 800-978-4818.
When was the last time you got a second chance to save thousands of dollars? If the IRS or state says you now owe at least $15,000 in back taxes, listen to this. Right now, American Tax Relief is offering you a second chance to eliminate up to 85% of the taxes you owe. Thousands of honest, hardworking Americans have called American Tax Relief for the help they need. Look, your tax problem's not going to go away on its own. In fact, it's only going to get worse unless you get help. Call 800-355-3146. If you qualify, American Tax Relief can help you save up to 85% on the taxes you owe. Get the second chance you deserve and save up to 85% on your delinquent taxes. Call American Tax Relief for a free consultation and see how much money they can save you. Call 1-800-355-3146. Your call is confidential. There's no obligation. Call right now. 1-800-355-3146. 800-355-3146.
with our final segment, and we're certainly going to have to get Dean Joseph Marbach back on the show. He's a professor of political science. He's the dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at Seton Hall University. And Dean Marbach, as I ended that last segment with the statement about the self-destruction of John McCain, highly principled, and I respect him for that, but certainly not a political animal, one who's also mismanaged funds within his own campaign. What is your take on that issue, and as an extension of it, the issue of money again in a campaign and where it should come from? Well, other than Norman Shue,
right? The one place you don't want it from these days. But it's been fascinating that you'd mentioned some kind of campaign finance reform, but I would venture to say that the average American doesn't see any of it. The role of money is just increasing exponentially with regard to what it takes to run for president these days. We talk about public financing of campaigns. In 2004, neither Bush nor Kerry took any of the money. In 2008, none of the major candidates is going to take any of the public money. It just is too little and too many restrictions. So, talk about any types of reform, I think, is just almost delusional. And the role of money just, leaves the average American, I think, scratching their head. How much does it cost to run a campaign? And it's hundreds of millions of dollars. And to whom are these candidates beholden at the end of the day? And I think that's the real question that needs to be addressed at some point.
There is, and it's been the history of politics, and it's a real conundrum for these politicians, because very often you have to engage in behavior that may not be illegal. It may be deemed inappropriate in order to get to the position you want to get to. And it may mean lobbying or siding with particular groups of influence, or it could certainly mean, in the case of John Edwards, for example, who is not a viable candidate in my estimation, who appears to be taking the position of the unions and what he thinks are the socially and financially deprived of this country. The thinking that goes into a candidate's position is positively amazing, and very few of them, I believe, are truly principled. I really believe, and I'm leaving out the nutcakes like Dennis Kucinich, but I believe McCain is principled on the right. And I'll go back to saying I actually believe that Joe Biden is on the left, and I think to get where I was at the beginning, he may be the most qualified of all candidates in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, he certainly has the experience. He's been senator for 20 some odd years, close to 30 years. He's been on the Foreign Relations Committee. I mean, his credentials are impeccable. He runs into the problem of geography. And again, money. Coming from Delaware, you don't have the electoral backing like some of the states of, California, Florida, and Illinois. But I've always been impressed with Biden as a thoughtful individual, and I remember seeing him 30 years ago when he was first getting into the Senate, and he was thoughtful then, and still remains that type of individual.
Well, we were just about out of time. I do want to end on one little bit of a humorous note that Barack Obama and Dick Cheney, eighth cousins, the news that came out this past week, and the Obama camp came back with a great statement. This is the black sheep in the family, which I think added a lot of humor to a campaign that already has enough. I want to thank you very much, Dean Marbach, for joining us at Seton Hall University. We'll have you back as we assess the political campaign. This is Stu Taylor with Equity Strategies saying stay tuned as we continue with Seton Hall and Leonard Marshall in our second hour for those joining us. Stay with us.
The opinions you hear on the Business Talk Radio Network are those of the hosts, callers, and guests, and not necessarily those of this station, Business Talk Radio Network, its management, or advertisers. The information on the Business Talk Radio Network does not constitute a recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or securities. Investing involves risks. Please consult a professional before investing. If you have any questions or comments about the Business Talk Radio Network, contact us at 203-323-7300 or at our website, businesstalkradio.net.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a price war among the major term life carriers. Consider these possible rates. A man age 60, non-tobacco user could obtain $250,000 of coverage for as little as $85 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $250,000 and above. A man age 60, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $250,000 of coverage for as little as $135 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. For new or replacement term life insurance, call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1481, 800-430-1481. That's 800-430-1481.
With news on the Information Radio Network, I'm Jody Jordan. Georgia Governor Sonny Perdue is asking President Bush for disaster assistance.
We ask him to utilize his power under the Endangered Species Act to prevent catastrophic harm to those both upstream and downstream, human or otherwise.
The White House says the governor's request is being reviewed. The state is under a historic drought, with water supplies dwindling for millions of people. And Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson tells the International Monetary Fund's Policy Setting Committee that the credit crisis has increased risk to the global economy. But he says it remains strong overall.
There was a very broad agreement that the global economy continues to be very strong. It's we have balanced growth, broad growth.
This is the Information Radio Network.
Sometimes you feel like you're just a number. To the banks, the credit card companies, the lenders, and financial institutions, you are just a number, your credit score. And unless that number is above their standards, you get stuck paying more for everything. Hi, I'm John Commuta, creator of the Transforming Debt into Wealth system. If you don't have perfect credit, banks will either take advantage of you or slam the door in your face. But I want to send you a free tape that shows you how my proven system will wipe the slate clean once and for all. My system doesn't just raise your credit score, it will permanently insulate your credit status so it can never come back to haunt you again. It works no matter how bad your credit is or how much debt you have. Call today and I'll send you a free tape showing you the power of my proven system. You can hit the reset button on your credit score and wipe the slate clean. Let me show you how. Call right now to get my free tape. 1-800-900-1672. That's 1-800-900-1672. 1-800-900-1672.